The emergency alert pierced through the artificial night cycle of Outpost Zenith, its urgent tone pulling Dr. Maya Patel from her meditation. The space station's curved windows reflected the pale light of 3 moons, casting ethereal shadows across her small quarters. As the station's only human xenoveterinarian, she had grown accustomed to unexpected calls, but something about this alert felt different. Dr. Paddle to Emergency Bay 7. The station's AI announced, its voice unnaturally calm. Critical case incoming. Maya was already moving, her dark hair pulled back in a tight braid as she grabbed her modified medical kit. 3 years on Outpost Zenith had taught her that alien veterinary medicine required both standard tools and improvised solutions. Her hands moved automatically, checking the specialized equipment she'd developed. Hybrid scanners that combined Earth and alien technology, adaptable biomesh for wounds, and her own synthesized universal sedatives. The emergency bay doors hissed open to reveal organized chaos. A team of Varian medical technicians, their crystalline bodies refracting light in agitated patterns, worked around a massive form on the central platform. Behind them stood First Healer Ixel, the station's chief medical officer, their translucent membrane wings folded tightly against their back, a sign of severe stress. Human doctor. Ixel's telepathic voice carried clear notes of skepticism. This is beyond your expertise. The patient is a Nexus beast. Maya's breath caught. Nexus beasts were legendary creatures, living starships that traversed the void between galaxies. They were thought to be nearly immortal, their biology so complex that even the most advanced alien medical science struggled to understand it. The creature before her was dying. Its crystalline organic hybrid body, usually a magnificent fusion of living tissue and natural gemstone, lay shattered. Fracture lines ran through its core matrix, leaking luminescent fluid that should have been safely contained within its body. The beast's 6 wings, normally spanning the length of a small spacecraft, were crumpled and dim. What happened? Maya approached the platform, her scanner already gathering data. Quantum storm collision, one of the Varian techs reported. Found it drifting in the cerulean sector. 3 other medical stations refused to accept it. They said attempting treatment would be futile. Maya studied the readings on her scanner. The beast's neural pathways were degrading, its unique crystalline organic matrix collapsing. Conventional alien medical knowledge would indeed suggest the case was hopeless. But Maya saw something else in the data, patterns that reminded her of something far simpler, far more familiar. Its core matrix, she muttered. It's not just breaking down. It's trying to heal itself, but the process is corrupted. She looked up at Ixel, like a computer with bad code, or better yet, like an Earth coral reef under environmental stress. Ixel's wings flickered with doubt. This is not some simple Earth organism, Dr. Patel. Nexus beasts are ancient beings of incredible complexity. Their healing processes are beyond even our understanding. Maybe that's the problem, Maya replied, already pulling equipment from her kit. We're overthinking it, looking at the whole when we need to start with the parts. She held up a vial of iridescent liquid. This is a modified version of what we use to heal coral reefs on Earth. The basic principles of crystalline organic regeneration might be similar. You want to use primitive Earth medicine on a Nexus beast? Ixel's telepathic voice radiated disbelief. The risk is less than letting it die without trying. Maya cut in. She was already preparing the treatment. I need your team's help. We'll start with the smallest fractures and work our way in. Think of it like setting a broken bone, but on a quantum level. The next hours blurred into an intense dance of precision and improvisation. Maya directed the Varian techs with quiet confidence, using their crystalline nature to help channel the healing solution into the beast's fractures. She combined Earth techniques with alien technology, treating each crack and fissure as both a physical and energetic wound. The Nexus beast's massive form occasionally trembled, sending waves of quantum distortion through the emergency bay. Equipment sparked and failed, But Maya kept working. She saw beyond the creature's legendary status, beyond its impossible biology. In the end, all living things shared certain fundamental needs: the need to heal, to survive, to thrive. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the luminescent fluid began to stabilize. The smallest fractures started to seal, the beast's natural healing processes reactivating with the help of Maya's treatment. Its neural patterns, displayed on the surviving monitors, began to show signs of recovery. Impossible, Ixal whispered, their wings now spread in astonishment. The matrix is actually regenerating. Maya managed a tired smile. Not impossible, just unexpected. Sometimes the simplest solutions work on the most complex problems. She checked her scanner again. We're not done yet. This is just the beginning of its healing process. But it has a chance now. As if in response, the Nexus beast's body pulsed with a soft light, its first sign of conscious response since arriving. The light carried a pattern that Maya had never seen before, but somehow understood on a fundamental level. It was communication in its most basic form: acknowledgement, gratitude, connection. The emergency bay fell silent as the light touched each person present. In that moment, the barriers between human and alien, between healer and patient, between the possible and impossible, seemed to fade. Maya felt tears in her eyes, not from exhaustion, but from the pure wonder of the moment. Dr. Patel, Ixal's telepathic voice was softer now, touched with something like respect. Perhaps we have something to learn from Earth medicine after all. Maya nodded, her hand resting gently on the Nexus beast's stabilizing form. We all have something to learn from each other. That's why I came to the stars in the first place. The beast's light pulsed again, stronger this time, and Maya knew that this was just the beginning of a much longer journey. She had opened a door that could never be closed, proving that humanity's approach to healing had value even among the stars. As the emergency bay slowly returned to normal operations, she began planning the next stages of treatment, knowing that every impossible recovery started with a single moment of hope. The days following the initial emergency treatment of the Nexus beast brought new challenges that tested not only Maya's medical skills, but her resolve. The creature had been moved to a specialized containment bay, its massive form barely fitting within the reinforced chamber. The walls pulsed with quantum dampeners, necessary to contain the beast's natural energy emissions as it healed. Maya stood before the station's medical council, her holographic presentation showing the beast's recovery progress. 7 alien species were represented, their varied forms united in their skeptical attention. First, Healer Ixal sat at the center, their membrane wings now showing patterns of cautious curiosity rather than their earlier doubt. While the initial crisis has passed, Maya explained, gesturing to the neural pattern displays, the Nexus beast's core matrix is still highly unstable. We're seeing unexpected fluctuations in its quantum field that could indicate deeper damage. A Tellurian counselor, their metallic scales shifting with agitation, leaned forward. Dr. Patel, your emergency intervention, while surprisingly effective, was unprecedented and highly irregular. The Council has concerns about continuing this experimental treatment. Maya had expected this resistance. She pulled up new data, showing the intricate patterns of the beast's healing process. Look at these regeneration patterns. They're following a fractal sequence that's remarkably similar to natural healing processes we see in Earth's coral reefs. By understanding these parallels, we can. Comparing a Nexus beast to primitive Earth organisms is reductionist at best, interrupted Counselor Vex, their crystalline form vibrating with disapproval. These beings are ancient cosmic entities. Their biology transcends our understanding. Respectfully, Counselor, Maya countered, that's exactly the problem. We've put these creatures on such a pedestal that we've forgotten they're still living beings. Complex, yes. Ancient, certainly, but still bound by the fundamental principles of life. The council chamber hummed with murmured discussions. Maya pressed her advantage, bringing up new scans. The beast's matrix is already showing signs of accepting the modified coral regeneration treatment. But to complete the healing, I need authorization to proceed with the next phase. And what exactly is this next phase? First Healer Ixal asked, their telepathic voice carrying genuine curiosity. Maya took a deep breath. I want to attempt neural synchronization. The chamber erupted in protests. Neural synchronization, connecting one's consciousness directly with another being, was considered incredibly dangerous even with well-understood species. With a Nexus beast, it was unthinkable. Absolutely not, Vex declared. The risk is unacceptable. One wrong connection could shatter your mind. The beast is trying to communicate, Maya insisted. The light patterns it's been emitting, they're not random. They're becoming more focused, more intentional. I believe it's reaching out for help, but we need to understand exactly what it needs to heal completely. First Healer Ixal raised their wings, silencing the chamber. Dr. Patel, your success so far has earned you some latitude. But this is beyond reckless. Neural synchronization with a Nexus beast has never been attempted. Many things were impossible until someone tried them, Maya responded quietly. I've modified the synchronization equipment to incorporate both human and alien technology. The beast's own quantum field can act as a buffer, protecting both of us during the connection. She pulled up her final slides, detailed schematics of her modified neural interface. I've spent 3 years studying xenobiology, learning from all of you. Now I'm asking you to trust that I've learned enough to take this next step. The council chambers fell silent as the members studied her proposals. Maya waited, her heart pounding, but her exterior calm. Finally, Ixal spoke. The council will need time to deliberate. Until then, continue with the approved treatments only. Dismissed. Maya left the chamber, her mind already racing with preparations she'd need to make. She knew the council might refuse her request, but she also knew she couldn't wait too long. The Nexus beast's condition, while stable, was deteriorating at a quantum level. In the containment bay, Maya found her assistant, a young Varian named Zix, monitoring the beast's vital signs. The creature's crystalline organic form pulsed with a weak but steady light, its massive wings occasionally twitching as if dreaming. How is our patient? Maya asked, checking the readings herself. Core temperature fluctuating within acceptable parameters, Zix reported, their crystalline form reflecting the beast's pulses. But there's something else. Watch. Zix pulled up a recording from the previous hour. The beast's light patterns had changed, forming complex geometric shapes that hung in the air for brief moments before dissolving. It's trying to communicate, Maya whispered. These patterns, they're becoming more organized, more deliberate. She recognized elements that reminded her of mathematical sequences, of musical harmonies, of the very language of life itself. A soft chime announced another visitor. Maya turned to find First Healer Ixal entering the bay, their wings folded in a formal position. The council is still deliberating, Ixal said without preamble, but I wanted to see for myself. They moved closer to the beast, their own bioluminescence responding to its pulses. Remarkable. In all my years of medicine, I've never seen anything quite like this. It's beautiful, isn't it? Maya said softly. The way it's trying to reach out, to connect. Even in its injured state, it hasn't given up. Ixal was quiet for a long moment, studying the patterns. You truly believe you can synchronize with it safely? I believe I have to try. Maya met Ixal's gaze. Every moment we wait, its matrix becomes more unstable. The patterns are getting more urgent. It's asking for help in the only way it can. And if the council refuses, Maya's jaw tightened. Then I'll have to decide what matters more, following protocol or saving a life. Ixal's wings shimmered with what might have been amusement. You humans, always pushing boundaries, always challenging our assumptions. They turned to leave, then paused. The council's decision will come tomorrow. Whatever they decide, be careful, Dr. Patel. Some boundaries exist for a reason. Left alone with the beast, Maya watched its light patterns dance across the containment bay. Each pulse seemed to reach out to her, each pattern a word in a language she was just beginning to understand. Tomorrow would bring either permission or a difficult choice, but for now, she simply stood with her patient, two beings connected by the universal desire to heal, to survive, to understand. The Council's decision arrived with the artificial dawn, an unanimous rejection of Maya's neural synchronization proposal. She read the formal notice on her tablet, her quarters still dark except for the glow of distant stars through her viewport. The message was diplomatic but firm. The risk was deemed too high, the potential consequences too severe. But the Nexus Beast's condition had deteriorated overnight. Maya stared at the latest readings from the containment bay, her heart sinking. The creature's quantum field was becoming erratic, its core matrix showing signs of cascade failure. Without intervention, it would begin to collapse within hours. Her emergency communicator chirped. "Dr. Patel." Zix's crystalline voice carried clear alarm. "The beast's vital signs are destabilizing. First Healer Ixal requests your presence immediately." The containment bay was chaos when Maya arrived. The beast's massive form writhed in obvious distress, its light patterns no longer structured but wild and desperate. The quantum dampeners struggled to contain the energy pulses radiating from its failing matrix. "The deterioration is accelerating," Ixal reported, their wings flashing with urgency. "Conventional treatments are having no effect." Maya rushed to the monitoring station, analyzing the data streams. The beast's neural patterns were fragmenting, its complicated biology literally tearing itself apart. But underneath the chaos, she could see something else, a pattern, a rhythm, like a heartbeat growing weaker. It's not just physical deterioration, she realized. Its consciousness is fragmenting. The matrix isn't just its body, it's part of its mind. She turned to Ixal. "Without neural synchronization, we'll lose it completely." "The Council has made its decision," Ixal reminded her, but their telepathic voice carried a note of conflict. Maya watched another energy surge rack the beast's form. Its light patterns, once so beautiful, now screamed of pain and fear. In that moment, she made her choice. "Zix," she called out, "help me with the neural interface, the modified one from my lab." The young Varian hesitated, looking between Maya and Ixal. The first healer's wings shifted through complex patterns before settling. "I will not assist in this," Ixal said finally, "but I will not stop you either. Whatever happens is on your conscience alone." Maya nodded, already moving to prepare the interface. She had designed it herself, combining human neural mapping technology with alien quantum field manipulators. As she worked, she spoke quietly to her assistant. "Zix, if anything goes wrong, there's a file in my personal database labeled Protocol Omega. It contains everything I've learned about treating the beast. Make sure it reaches Earth." The neural interface hummed to life, its delicate sensors adjusting to the beast's quantum field. Maya took a deep breath, checking the connections one final time. The device would create a bridge between her consciousness and the beast's matrix, allowing direct communication. If it worked. If it didn't, the feedback could shatter her mind. "Beginning synchronization," she announced, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The interface activated, and Maya felt the first tentative connection form. It was like standing at the edge of an ocean at night, feeling the pull of vast, dark waters. The beast's consciousness touched hers, and Maya gasped. It was ancient beyond comprehension, vast beyond measure. Images and sensations flooded her mind. The cold between galaxies, the dance of stellar nurseries, the song of cosmic radiation. She felt herself drowning in the immensity of it. But beneath the cosmic awareness, she felt something familiar. Pain. Fear. The desperate need to be whole again. The beast was lost in its own vastness, its consciousness scattered by trauma and injury. Maya focused on those familiar feelings, using them as an anchor. She thought of Earth's oceans, of coral reefs rebuilding after storms, of the persistent force of life itself. She offered these images to the beast, showing it that healing was possible, that wholeness could be found again. The beast's consciousness shifted, responding to her thoughts. Its quantum field began to stabilize, aligning with the patterns Maya shared. She felt its gratitude, its understanding. Together, they began the delicate work of rebuilding its shattered matrix. Time lost meaning in the synchronization. Maya was vaguely aware of alarms sounding, of voices raised in concern, but she remained focused on the connection. The beast's consciousness guided her through its own structure, showing her how to help it heal. When the synchronization finally ended, Maya collapsed. Strong arms caught her. Zix, she realized dimly. The containment bay swam back into focus slowly. The beast's form was still massive, still wounded, but its light patterns had stabilized into a steady, healthy rhythm. Impossible, someone whispered. Maya turned her head to see the entire medical council standing at the bay's entrance, apparently summoned by the emergency. Their expressions ranged from shock to awe to lingering disapproval. Dr. Patel, first healer Ixal, approached, their wings displaying complex emotions. What you did was reckless, unauthorized, and completely contrary to established medical protocols. They paused, their next words carrying clear wonder. It was also possibly the most extraordinary thing I have ever witnessed. Maya tried to stand, but her legs wouldn't cooperate. The neural synchronization had left her drained, but her mind was alight with new understanding. The beast, she managed to say, it showed me so much. Its healing process, its very nature, it's all connected. The physical and the conscious, the quantum and the organic. We were treating only half the patient. The beast's light patterns shifted, forming shapes that Maya now understood were not just communication but expression, gratitude, relief, and something like friendship. Its consciousness, though no longer directly linked with hers, felt clearer now, more focused. The matrix is stabilizing, Zix reported, checking the readings. Neural patterns are coherent and strengthening. It's actually healing itself now. Maya smiled tiredly. No, she corrected, we're healing together. Sometimes the hardest part of healing is remembering that you're not alone. She looked at the council members, seeing their perspectives shifting, their understanding expanding. That's true for any species, anywhere in the universe. The beast's light pulsed in agreement, its patterns now strong and clear. In breaking protocol, in risking everything to forge a connection, Maya had done more than save a single life. She had opened a door to new understanding between species, between different ways of healing and being. As she finally managed to stand, supported by Zix, Maya knew that this was just the beginning. The knowledge she had gained during the synchronization would change medical science across the galaxy. But more importantly, it had proven that sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come not from advanced technology or ancient wisdom, but from the simple willingness to reach out, to connect, to heal together. News of Maya's successful neural synchronization with the Nexus Beast spread through Outpost Zenith like a quantum wave. The massive medical bay that housed the recovering creature had become an unlikely pilgrimage site for scientists and healers from across the galaxy. Maya found herself at the center of a storm of attention, but her focus remained on her patient. 2 weeks after the synchronization, Maya sat cross-legged on the observation platform, monitoring the beast's recovery. Its crystalline organic form had regained much of its natural luster, the fracture lines now sealed with traces of iridescent healing tissue. The creature's 6 wings, once crumpled and dim, now stretched nearly to their full span, occasionally shimmering with test pulses of quantum energy. Your neural patterns are still synchronized, remarked Dr. Venn, a quantum neuroscientist who had arrived from the Andromeda Science Academy. The elderly Meridian's spiral-shaped eyes spun with fascination as they studied the readouts. Even without the interface, you maintain a connection. Unprecedented. Maya nodded, feeling the gentle background hum of the beast's consciousness at the edges of her mind. The link had persisted, though muted, allowing her to monitor its healing process on a level deeper than any scanner could detect. The synchronization changed both of us, she explained. We understand each other now, in ways that transcend ordinary communication. The beast's light patterns shifted in agreement, forming complex geometric shapes that Maya now recognized as expressions of contentment and healing. She had learned its language, just as it had learned to understand her thoughts and emotions. First, healer Ixal glided onto the platform, their wings displaying patterns of professional satisfaction. The medical council has finished reviewing your complete report, Dr. Patel. They are impressed. Your methods, while unorthodox, have proven remarkably effective. And dangerous, added Counselor Vex, who had followed Ixal. The crystalline being's form still vibrated with lingering disapproval. We cannot ignore the risks you took, the protocols you violated. Maya stood, facing the counselor directly. With respect, sometimes protocols need to be challenged. The beast was dying. Traditional methods weren't working. We had to try something new. The human has a point, Dr. Venn interjected, their spiral eyes spinning faster with excitement. The data we've gathered from this case is revolutionary. The neural synchronization technique alone could transform our understanding of interspecies communication. The beast's light patterns suddenly intensified, drawing everyone's attention. It projected a series of complex quantum holograms into the air, images of stars, galaxies, and something else. Maya stepped closer, interpreting the patterns through their shared connection. It's showing us its purpose, she said softly. Nexus beasts don't just travel between galaxies. They're guardians of sorts. They maintain quantum pathways between star systems, ensure the stability of space-time itself. She turned to the others, her eyes bright with understanding. By healing it, we've done more than save one life. We've helped preserve the cosmic web that connects everything. Ixal's wings shimmered with wonder. If this is true, the implications are staggering. The medical knowledge we've gained, combined with this cosmic insight, which is precisely why we must proceed with caution, Vex interrupted. Dr. Patel, the council has decided. While your actions were successful in this case, we cannot endorse neural synchronization as a standard treatment. The risks are worth taking when necessary, Maya finished firmly. I'm not suggesting we use this technique recklessly, but we can't let fear of the unknown prevent us from helping those in need. She gestured to the beast, its form now glowing with healthy energy. Look what we can achieve when we combine our knowledge, when we're willing to try new approaches. The beast's light patterns changed again, forming a complex sequence that Maya recognized as a teaching pattern. Through their connection, she understood its intention. It wanted to share knowledge, to help bridge the gap between species. It's offering to help us understand, Maya explained, her voice filled with excitement. Not just about its own biology, but about the quantum nature of life itself. It sees value in what we did here, humans and aliens working together, finding new ways to heal. Dr. Venn's spiral eyes spun so fast, they became a blur. Extraordinary. A Nexus beast, willing to teach us. This could advance our medical science by centuries. Even Counselor Vex's crystalline form softened slightly. Perhaps there is merit in establishing a formal research program. Under strict supervision, of course. I would be honored to lead such a program, Ixal offered, their wings displaying patterns of academic enthusiasm. With Dr. Patel's continued involvement, naturally. Maya felt a surge of emotion from the beast, approval, anticipation, and something like pride. Through their connection, she sensed its genuine desire to help, to be part of this bridge between species and healing traditions. We'll need to establish new protocols, she said, already planning. Ways to safely combine traditional treatments with these new techniques, and we'll need to train others in neural synchronization. Carefully, gradually, but with an open mind to its possibilities. The beast's light pulsed in harmony with her words, its pattern suggesting modifications and improvements to her ideas. Maya smiled, feeling the depth of their collaboration. This was more than just a breakthrough in medical science. It was proof that the greatest advances came from being willing to reach across boundaries, to trust in connection and understanding. As the others discussed logistics and preparations, Maya placed her hand against the beast's crystalline surface, feeling the steady thrum of its restored quantum field. In that touch was a promise to continue learning, to keep pushing boundaries, to remember that healing was about more than just fixing what was broken. It was about building bridges between different ways of being, about finding unity in diversity. The beast's consciousness brushed against hers, sharing images of future possibilities. Humans and aliens working together, learning from each other, growing beyond their current limitations. Maya saw herself as part of this future, a bridge between worlds, between ways of healing and understanding. Together, she whispered, and the beast's light danced in agreement. The word echoed through their shared connection, carrying with it all the promise of what was to come. 6 months after the historic healing of the Nexus Beast, Outpost Zenith had transformed. The medical bay, once a simple treatment facility, had evolved into the Interstellar Institute of Xenological Medicine. Maya stood at its heart, watching as teams of human and alien healers worked together, learning from each other in ways that would have seemed impossible before. The Nexus Beast had recovered fully, its magnificent form, now a regular sight, as it orbited the station, maintaining its vigil over the quantum pathways of space. Through their persistent neural link, Maya felt its satisfaction at the changes taking place, its joy at being part of something revolutionary. The latest results from the neural synchronization trials are quite promising. First, healer Ixel reported, their wings displaying patterns of academic excitement. They had become one of the strongest advocates for combining human and alien medical techniques. 3 more species have successfully adapted your methods for their own healing practices. Maya nodded, reviewing the data on her tablet. The techniques she developed in desperation had been refined, made safer and more accessible. And the success rate, 87%, came the proud reply. Far higher than our most optimistic projections. The medical bay doors slid open, admitting a delegation of beings from across the galaxy. Maya recognized representatives from the Medical Council, now expanded to include humans, alongside scientists and healers from dozens of worlds. Even Counselor Vex was present, their crystalline form now resonating with grudging respect rather than skepticism. Dr. Patel, the head of the delegation, greeted her, a centaurian whose bioluminescent tentacles rippled with formal patterns. "We've come to witness the demonstration." Maya smiled, feeling the Nexus Beast's anticipation through their link. "Of course. Shall we begin?" The demonstration area had been specially prepared. A holographic display showed real-time neural patterns from various species, while quantum field monitors tracked the subtle energies that Maya had learned to work with. At the center stood a young Lyran healer, nervous but determined, preparing for their first supervised neural synchronization. "Remember," Maya instructed, "the technology is just a tool. The real connection comes from understanding that all life, no matter how different it seems, shares fundamental patterns. Listen not just with your mind, but with your heart." The Lyran nodded, their feathered crest rising with determination. The patient, a wounded stellar whale calf, floated in a containment field nearby. Its quantum signature was erratic, its life force dimming, similar in many ways to how the Nexus Beast had been when it first arrived. The synchronization began, and Maya monitored closely through both instruments and intuition. She felt the moment the connection formed, saw the Lyran's expression shift from concentration to wonder. The stellar whale's energy patterns began to stabilize, responding to the healer's guidance. "Remarkable," breathed one of the council members. "The neural patterns are aligning perfectly." Through the observation window, Maya saw the Nexus Beast adjust its orbit, its massive form casting patterns of light across the station. It was teaching too, in its own way, sharing ancient knowledge with those ready to learn. Its presence had attracted other cosmic beings to the station, turning Outpost Zenith into a hub for healing previously unknown species. Dr. Patel. Zix approached, their crystalline form vibrating with excitement. The Earth Medical Council has approved our proposal. They're establishing similar programs at stations across human space. Maya felt a surge of pride. What had started as one desperate attempt to save a single life had sparked a revolution in medical science. Humans, once seen as newcomers to galactic society, were now recognized for their unique perspective and innovative approaches to healing. The Lyran healer completed their synchronization, stepping back with tears of joy as the stellar whale calf's energy signatures stabilized. The observers erupted in appreciative murmurs and congratulations. This is only the beginning, Maya addressed the gathered delegation. Every successful synchronization teaches us something new. Every healed patient opens new possibilities for understanding life itself. Through their link, the Nexus Beast shared images of the future, a galaxy where healing transcended species boundaries, where knowledge flowed freely between worlds, where the impossible became possible through cooperation and trust. You've changed everything, Ixal said quietly, their wings displaying patterns of deep respect. Not just medicine, but how we see each other, how we understand life itself. Maya watched as the healed stellar whale calf began to sing, its quantum harmonics resonating with joy. The Nexus Beast responded with its own patterns of light, creating a symphony of life and healing that touched everyone present. We all changed everything, she corrected, by being willing to try, to trust, to learn from each other. She felt the truth of her words in the neural link she shared with the beast, in the faces of the healers around her, in the very air of the station itself. The Nexus Beast's consciousness brushed against hers one final time that day, sharing not words but a feeling, of completion, of rightness, of hope for what was to come. Maya smiled, understanding perfectly. They had done more than save a life or advance medical science. They had proven that the greatest breakthroughs come not from technology or tradition alone, but from the courage to reach across the void between worlds and species, to connect, to heal, to grow together. As the artificial night cycle began, casting the station in the light of distant stars, Maya knew that this was her true legacy. Not just the techniques she'd developed or the lives she'd saved, but the bridges she'd helped build between different ways of healing, different ways of being. In the end, that was the most powerful medicine of all.